Hey guys, welcome back to Play on Footy. Today we're going to be looking at the Collingwood Football Club's preview for season 2025. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. We've got more AFL content coming out, previews, predictions, trade talk, of course, for the end of this season, even though there's speculation to begin with Oscar Allen going to Brisbane Lions, and also some AFL fantasy sort of talk as well, which will sort of slip in there. But let's get stuck into it, shall we? With Collingwood, they were sort of busy over the trade period. They landed some cool names such as Perryman and Membry, as well as who was the other one? Oh, Perryman and Houston. Sorry, Houston. That was the other one. From Port Adelaide. So yeah, Collingwood did okay over the trade period, and they've got a pretty good list at the moment. As you'd know, they only won the premiership in 2023, so not that long ago. But they do have an interesting sort of run with a couple of players already sort of injured or sort of not able to get onto the park. But we'll get into the first one here. So Pat Lipinski, number one. He had a pretty good year last year, let's be honest. He's one of those up-and-coming Collingwood Magpie players that, has to be ready for someone to depart, whether that be, not that he's slowing down or anything like that, but Pendlebury could be, who's another one that's sort of getting not long in the tooth at the moment. You're probably looking at someone like a Steel Sidebottom. So, Lipinski is one of those players at the moment that really is doing quite well and able to get off halfback, be that inside or outside mid. He does a bit of both ways. He's a great overall player. Again, I don't have him AFL fantasy. I don't think he's AFL fantasy proof just yet, but overall, I think he's a great one to watch, irregardless. Jordan De Goey, he had a bit of an injury interrupted season last year. He'll be looking to make amends come season 2025. And he's definitely one to watch to play that inside mid, or even be like that sort of Dustin Martin late in his career, how he can go forward, play that half forward role as well. Isaac Quaynor did really well in the yo-yo test at the club for pre-season, so he's definitely got a big tank on him, this guy, and can run all day, be off that half back and rebound that footy quite well. Braden Maynard, big bruzzy, he's a tough competitor, and as we all know, and definitely doesn't seem to be slowing down or be looking behind the game at all. He's definitely staying in front, keeping himself fit, and I think he'll be a big contributor this season. Jamie Elliott, he had a couple of not cardiovascular, but he had some sort of vascular sort of injury last year with his sort of veins and arteries in his legs, which wasn't too good to hear. We're not really sure how much impact Jamie Elliott's going to have this season, but hopefully he's fully fit and ready to go and can get himself back on the park a bit more consistently. Tom Mitchell, he's out with a knee, I think it was, from my memory. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, please. I don't really think he'll have much of an impact this season, Tom Mitchell. Josh Dacos is definitely going to have a big impact this year. Nick's brother, of course, and I think, just watching him last year, he definitely got around the contest seemingly easy, and I think he'll be definitely one to watch for Collingwood if they to really play finals and really push their case, which I think they're a solid chance, to be honest. Lachie Schultz probably didn't have the biggest impact he was hoping for, being drafted from Freo to Collingwood. He's definitely still one to watch, don't get me wrong. You just got to see where things turn out or how things are going to turn out. So I think Lachie Schultz is a little bit more safer now that Joe Richards has left. He went to Port Adelaide, of course, but yeah, it's one to wait and see, one to wait and see. So don't sleep on Schultz this season. Dan Houston definitely going to have that halfback role. I think he's going to be one of those interesting cats to watch because he's definitely got a lot of upside. I don't think a lot of people have really picked him in AFL fantasy for various reasons. I think because of the early buy for Collingwood, but overall, I think he's going to be very exciting to watch in the Collingwood colours this year. I'm really looking forward to that. Scott Pendlebury, look, what can't this man do? He's into his, I don't know what number season, I think 20 or 21st season of AFL footy, something incredible like that. I would have to fact check that, but he is doing really well. Definitely one to watch come the opening round. And then, Dan McStay, he missed a large portion last year because of injury, but I think he's definitely going to slot in. And now that they got rid of Joe Richards, I think there's definitely ample amount of room for him to come to the team and stay in there for long periods. Harry Perriman, another one to back up the good old Dan Houston, I think is definitely what Collingwood need. I think McRae, he has a style that's very fast-moving game style. And he needs these two players to be coming in, Dan and Harry, to really add to Collingwood's speed, because a lot of their veterans are noticeably slower. I'm not looking at Sidebottom and Pendlebury, but there's other players as well which they just haven't got that pace, and that's what Perriman and Dan Houston are definitely going to offer for sure. Darcy Cameron, I love this guy on the ruck. I think he's such a good value guy. I think he's so consistent. I think he's one of the biggest improvers of the game. He originally came from Perth, Western Australia, played in Claremont's Waffle team, and then went to Sydney Swans, and then came over to Collingwood and just hasn't looked back. He's slotted in perfectly, and I think, whoever picked him to come to Collingwood needs a raise, because he's contributed so much to the footy club already and will continue to. Ed Allen is one of those up-and-coming midfielders, so we'll wait and see how he develops. Billy Frampton, not a massive year last year. He's just a plug-in player. Again, now that Perriman's here and Houston's here, I think his spot's pretty much overtaken and challenged. Giath is a pretty promising guy. I think he's going to be on the fringes still, but he's definitely one to watch and to definitely keep an eye on. Sidebottom, don't need to say much about him. He's just a super consistent player. Collingwood, I forgot to mention, Collingwood have gone out and got Smith in the ruck and Steen just for their ruck stocks, just because of Cox is getting on now. I think Cox will have probably one more season and then call it time. Again, don't want to speculate too much, but I'm just going off what Collingwood have done in the trade period. They're definitely stocking up to be ready for that if time may come to an end for him, so we shall see. But back on Steele Sidebottom, I think he's definitely one that will be leading Collingwood. Whether or not he goes another year is up to him. I think he still represents great value for Collingwood. I think he's a ready-made AFL player. He uses the ball really well. He's got great footy smarts. His body's pretty much never let him down. He's pretty reliable in that aspect. But Bobby Hill, he does what Bobby Hill does. Probably didn't have the best year last year, but he'll definitely bounce back and want to lock himself into the side on a consistent basis as well. And talking about bodies being perfect, Jack Crisp is always on the park. He's always contributing. I think he was the best pickup for Collingwood. I think he came from Melbourne, or was it Brisbane? I think it was Brisbane. Brisbane Lions, I think it was. And he's just slotted into the team quite well over the years and has been a great contributor to the Collingwood Football Club and will continue to be, no doubt. Tim Membry, an interesting choice. I think, let me just think this one through. I think Collingwood made an okay decision on the basis that they've still got Dan McStay, they've still got Schultz. I think, what Collingwood were really missing last year because of who was it? Jamie Elliott's injury, I think they needed someone that, has a proven track record, can kick goals, can convert, and I think that is Tim Membry. And I don't think that's a bad move by Collingwood by any stretch of the imagination, so I think that's overall pretty good. Darcy Moore, again, didn't have the best year last year for him defensively, but not as good as 2023 anyway, but he will definitely contribute, he'll definitely bounce back, and I definitely see him putting his best foot forward into season 2025. Bowman Creer is another one of those guys that was just so... He's just so consistent. He's just one of those players that just bashes and crashes in, runs with the footy both ways. Super, super, super good value for Collingwood to have him. Will Hoskin-Elliott, again, coming to the end of his career. Again, is his selection, his spot safe? I don't know. He's normally a pretty handy football player and pretty consistent, so we shall see with him. Nick Dacos, don't need to say much about him. Everyone knows about him. Harvey Harrison, he's a good up-and-coming forward player, pressure forward, so definitely watch him. Oleg Markov, now that there's Harry Perriman and Dan Houston, I think his spot in the side's come under scrutiny and probably he will lose his spot this season, unfortunately. Love the guy, like the way he goes about it, but I just don't think there's a spot for him. Jeremy Howe, again, depending on his body and he's coming to the pointy end of his career, Whether or not he's going to get much game time this year, we shall see. Ash Johnson, another one, probably just has failed at capitalising on his opportunities. He will be playing the Indigenous All-Stars games. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in that, but I just don't think there's much of an opportunity for him going forward long term. Same with Brody Myercheck. I think his spots come under a bit of scrutiny with his pectoral muscle and just failing to get on the park consistently this season, so I don't think he's going to have much of an opportunity going forward in season 2025. Now that, they've got... who have they got? They got Lockie Schultz, obviously. He's probably going to be pushing for his spot, and Tim Membry over Brody Myercheck. Charlie Dean, another key defender. He had an okay year, but yeah, definitely watch that space. And then, Mason Cox, he's coming to the pointy end of his year, of his career, I should say. But yeah, definitely watch this space because, Collingwood's got some good up-and-coming young rucks that will probably challenge Mason come season 2025. But what do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like and subscribe. What do you guys reckon? Where do you see Collingwood going in season 2025? This is obviously the preview. I'm just going through the players. I'm just seeing where they're at, where I think they're going to finish. I think they're going to finish... I reckon they're going to finish in the top 8, but I think they're going to be placed 8th. That's my genuine prediction. I think they've got enough sort of talent that's come in to aid them to get to finals. I just don't think they'll go any further, just sort of like the Blues last year. But what do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like and subscribe. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what sort of Collingwood player is your favourite, who's got the biggest upside in this season 2025, who's going to lose their spot in season 2025. Do you think? Let me know in the comments below, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.